Hey there, pandemic people. I'm Sheila Garcia, aka Ashia Garcia of Life as She Does It, and I'm here today to give a talk called Can You Be Sad and Still Find Joy? This is going to be a talk about all the things we're going through during this time of quarantine and isolation, as well as confusion, uncertainty, and chaos. There are so many things happening around us and even around the world that have a lot of us feeling sad or forlorn or even somewhat depressed. And I want you to know that I too feel sadness for all the things I just mentioned. So today we will talk about a few practical ways to find joy through those times. I'm still wading through doing these talks virtually. I think we all are. Zoom, hello. But I think we can do this together. And what's fun about that statement is that we are already doing this together. I have been doing leadership classes and life talks for more than 20 years. Don't want to age myself, but don't mind either. But never really virtually that I can remember until this pandemic hit. I don't have all the bells and whistles, but that's not what a talk is. If you came to my house, which you sort of can't do right now, and wanted to talk about something, there would be no fancy stuff, just no PowerPoints, no bells and whistles, just authentic me talking with authentic you. And that's what this is. So thank you ahead of time for your grace in that. Now, on to today's topic. Can you be sad and still find joy? I do want to take a minute here to pause and just remind you that there is a difference between joy and happiness. This is not a talk about happiness, about finding your happiness. Happiness, for all intents and purposes, is fleeting. It is circumstantial. Why do you think so many people do not have that emotion right now? Why do you think so many people are not happy right now? It depends on the circumstances that you're in. So remember that sadness as an emotion, just like happiness as an emotion, is also fleeting and circumstantial. I'm going to say something really crazy, but that's good news. That is exactly why we can find joy even when we're sad. Joy is not contingent upon our circumstances. Say it with me, people. Joy is not contingent upon our circumstances. And this talk is not about me telling you how not to be sad. It's about telling you a few practical ways. It's just a brief talk. A few practical ways to cultivate joy when you are sad. Now, I always work off of these talks with the understanding that you have to have your own house in order to give guidance or instructions. So I'll start by saying I am going through all the same things you are. Maybe in different ways, but I have seen quite a bit of loss over my lifetime, and especially during this year. Loss of family and friends, loss of finances, and loss of understanding. We've seen illness and death, quarantine and isolation, and bills still coming in without the same money coming in. We have lost loved ones and not even been able to attend their funerals. We've had loved ones get married or give birth during this time and not be able to celebrate with them side by side. And I'm not saying that's just us. I know that's a lot of you. I know a lot of you, if not all, are going through all of those same things. Nothing's the same right now. So I'm not saying it's just us in this house or in this family or just me. But in order to build credibility for you to know, I need you to know that we even have loved ones we love so dearly, just like you, we haven't been able to see and won't be able to see for a long time, or at least it seems like it'll be a long time. We've seen relationships strained, all while watching the other things going on in the world besides a pandemic, as though it's not enough on its own, like the violence and the marches and the politics. Then, there are the regular life things, right, that happen on a day-to-day basis that we all have to deal with too, the regular stuff that already can bring about these emotions. And so it's all so difficult to muddle through when you feel like you're walking through sludge sometimes. But we really do manage to seek and find joy through all of it in this house and in this family. It is not easy. I am not saying that. But it's doable. If you know me, you know, and if you don't, you're about to find out, you know I'm a firm believer in the Trinity of health, which is mind, body, and spirit, in order to find your best wellness in life. The same goes for finding joy through dark times or sadness. So starting with the mind, we've already talked about all the stuff that's causing stress, worry, depression, confusion, and then some. We don't need to go back over it, right? It can truly make you feel sad. And guess what? This talk is not about telling you to stop being sad. We have no control over what is happening around us right now. How in the world could we control the emotion of feeling sad about it? The best thing to do is to accept, I'm going to say something crazy now, accept that it's okay to feel sad. You have good reason to feel that emotion, so allow me to validate you. Even if you feel that it's been a long time that you've been feeling this way, the best thing to do is accept that it's been a long time since all of this started. I'm not saying that part of what everyone is calling the new normal is to say, I'll just accept that I'll be sad for the rest of my life. Not at all. Not at all I'm saying. Just saying that can make you unmotivated and lead to a dark place. I'm saying that there's obviously good reason for the sadness, so the first step is to embrace that. Stop judging yourself so harshly. Don't worry about what the timeline should be that you're feeling this way. Unless you feel that it is starting to get to a darker place or a deep depression where you should seek mental health help, then don't be so hard on yourself. We, of course, want to be safe and effective when it comes to our mental health. Let me be clear. But I can tell you that suppressing the sadness instead of embracing it can lead to that place. Even though it may sound contrary, it's the first step to finding joy. Another mindful way to find joy and even pass joy along is to express gratitude. I know it sounds so simple, and why don't we all think of it, but it's true. And that's science, ladies and gentlemen. A study from Harvard Health says that after 10 weeks, those who wrote about gratitude were more optimistic and felt better about their lives. Surprisingly, they also exercised more and had fewer visits to physicians than those who focused on sources of aggravation, all because they expressed gratitude. So look around you. Like the old adage says, count your blessings. Count your blessings. And those blessings don't have to be the big things. They could be, but they don't have to be. All the little things count too. For me, I notice we still have a solid and sound roof over our heads. I am grateful to have any time with any member of my family. I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful for my family's health. Even when I need new tires and fear or sadness starts to creep in because I don't know what will make that happen. I'm grateful to have a car that gets me around, though it may be in small or minor need of repair. I'm grateful for those that are intentional with me and reach out to check on us and love on us without conditions. I am grateful most of all for my faith, which for me means Jesus. So your blessings may not be the same as mine. You may think, well, our roof has a leak, so it's not so safe and sound, lucky you, and that only adds to my sadness. Well, I would challenge you. What could be the gratitude you show to change your mindset? The famous architect Frank Lloyd Wright built a house for an industrialist, Hibbert Johnson, in 1937. And as the story goes, one rainy evening, Johnson was entertaining some distinguished guests when the roof began to leak. The water seeped through directly above Johnson himself, dripping steadily onto his head. So annoyed, Johnson immediately called Wright. Frank, he said, you built this beautiful house for me. I don't know if that's what he sounded like, but that's the story. You built this beautiful house for me, and we enjoy it very much. But I've told you the roof leaks, and right now it's leaking right on top of my head. Well, the world-renowned architect lightheartedly replied, well, Hib, why don't you just move your chair? Quite often we become caught in unfavorable circumstances in life, and it causes fleeting emotion. Yet some people, instead of taking the initiative to do something about it, sulk and feel sorry for themselves. And believe me, that doesn't help the sadness. Thinking about moving your chair when the roof is leaking can help you find joy even in unfavorable situations, because you've managed to count your blessings. So in the physical sense as well, another practical way to find joy when you're sad is to change your environment. Now notice, I didn't say change your circumstances, okay? Sometimes, like right now, people, we are not in control of the circumstances, but we can be in control of moving our chair and being able to look around and see what we have to be grateful for. Which leads to the physiology or the physical nature of what happens during this kind of oxymoron of embracing sadness to find joy. Our amygdala, and you guys know how much I love talking about my amygdala. It's the part of the brain that wants us to keep safe. It wants to keep us safe. It responds to being sad sometimes by processing that emotion and giving you the gift, not always, but sometimes, of tears. Now, I know that may also sound counterintuitive, but think of it like a teapot. All of the pent-up range of emotions needs to go somewhere once they start to boil. A good cry is a game changer, y'all. Add to that perhaps a bubble bath and some classical music in the background, and you've got a perfect way to find joy. You will step out of that tub or away from that good cry, realizing you've found a little joy in the process. You've let off that steam, and don't forget the expression, tears of joy. This is that, just attained in a different way, and it can be a little exhausting, but it works. Part of moving that chair or changing your environment, albeit temporarily, to remove yourself from a poor situation or a situation that is consistently making you sad is trusting the circumstances will change. The roof is not always going to leak on your head. Which leads us to the part of health and wellness trinity that is faith. I always laugh as I'm putting these talks together when I get to this part, because I wonder how many people are going to log off. I'm hoping you don't, whether you're a person of faith or not. I've learned and always passed along that your health and wellness is like a three-legged stool, with mind, with body, and with spirit. And if you try to picture one of those stools in your mind, and then picture someone kicking one of the legs out from under you, what do you expect will happen? You will fall. You cannot go through life with just mind and body. There must be a belief system in you that connects spiritually. Though I saved that part for last, though, I need you to understand. My faith comes first. Very, very first. Without my faith and trust in God, I have nothing. I can't be sad at the circumstances, but my faith and trust, or I can be sad with the circumstances, but I know with my faith and trust, those circumstances aren't forever and they will change. Times could get harder, which almost always leads to growth, but times can also get better, which can lead to a reprieve or even a place of rest. Circumstances can arise that will make me angry or sorrowful or even happy. But joy through faith stays no matter the circumstances if you seek it. If you meditate and pray every day and put into practice those things, it will come into play. But feeling sad and unenthusiastic can be a lonely place. It can be hard to meet the challenges life brings and rise above them, especially if the hits keep coming. If you are finding it hard to find joy when you're feeling sad, remember that with time and training of your mind, body, and spirit, your ability will improve to find it. Like all things you're successful at, it definitely takes practice. The key to success is discipline. When you have done some of the other practical things for the mind and the body, lean into what you can do to find joy through sadness in the spirit. If you feel it's too much, tell him. Even believers, though, sometimes feel that the sadness is too much. Guys, but I promise you, if you continue to put into practice and seek to find the joy he offers, and remember that this is temporary, you will find the joy through the sadness. One of the practical things, spiritually speaking, is once again to accept the sadness. Once you acknowledge the limits of your situation, your circumstances, you can begin to plan effective action to move yourself to a better place with prayer, supplication, and effective faith that your circumstances are temporary. Fill your mind with the truth of what he offers. Write it down. Counting your blessings in a mindful way coincides with the spiritual way to find joy. Write them down every day. Make it your visceral or knee-jerk response to where it becomes normal or regular to count your blessings regardless of your circumstance. Sometimes sadness can make us feel helpless, but rest assured, seeking and finding your joy through that time can turn that around. Another thing, and this does go with mind, body, and spirit, don't go ham on social media. And don't allow yourself to be negative to people, even and especially when those that may be negative to you are negative to you. Negativity breeds sadness, anger, bitterness, and many other harmful and toxic emotions. Ranting on social media for the entire world to see is not a healthy choice, and it will not help you find the joy you seek. It is so hard. Trust me, I know. I am a subject matter expert when it comes to having things in my life make me sad and finding it hard to see where the joy is. But then finding it, just to be clear, it takes so much practice to keep reminding yourself that sad is circumstantial and the joy is attainable. And these few practical ways can open the door to it. I say accept the sadness. I'm not saying that you should think that's just the way I am, that's just the way you are, and that's the way life is, and that's that. I'm saying there is still joy to be had even when life's circumstances make you feel sad. Seek support. Zoom a friend. That's the thing now. Zoom somebody. Online devotions or virtual studies of the Word together can truly help you feel that you are not on your own, especially if the spiritual leg of the stool is new to you. And also, I'm not saying to have faith means to have a problem-free or sadness-free life. I'm saying those things are normal and are going to happen, but it certainly does help to know you have the Creator of the entire universe on your side and that He cares about your sadness. And just knowing that can bring joy. It takes daily practice, growth, and maturity. As my friend, Pastor Xavier Bright, recently said, spiritual maturity is a constant call to a renewed heart. And I'm thinking that counts for seeking joy through dark or sad times. So, to recap, yes, you can be sad and still find joy. You have to remember that sadness, like happiness or any other emotion, is circumstantial, which is fleeting. 2, you must remember the three-legged stool of health and wellness, which is mind, body, and spirit, and not just some combination of one or two, and don't kick out one of the legs. Accept the sadness and don't suppress it. Remind yourself that some circumstances just cannot be controlled. If you are feeling sad, don't judge yourself too harshly. Express gratitude. Verbally count your blessings and even think about writing them down. Temporarily change your environment. Move your chair. Take initiative. Move it. Move that chair. Also, allow yourself to have a good cry to bring about those tears of joy. Remember that your circumstances can and will change. Joy stays with you. Stay positive on social media, no matter how tempted you are to do the opposite. Seek support with friends, family, or even just being in the Word of truth. And lastly, have faith. If after all of these things you still find it hard to find joy during sadness, the best advice I can give you is don't give up. With life comes lessons. Focus on trying these practical things daily and you will find it starts to come naturally. The joy is within us. We just have to let it out. Don't forget what it's like to hug someone, though we can't right now because there's joy in the memory of it and knowing we will once again and soon enough hug one another. She Garcia, write them down every